Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Wonder Series, your weekly time to wonder how to be, do, and think differently, and how that essentially can change your life and help you create the life that you have always desired. Those of you who don't know me, hey, I'm Denise Stiegel. I'm the CEO and curator at Living Healthy List at livinghealthylist.com, and of course, your host for the Wonder Series. So this month, the topic that we've been talking about is peace and happiness. And both of those things mean something different to each of us. Yet many of us are searching for peace and happiness and really looking for some guidance. So I'm really excited to talk to my special guest today about her method, the Body Awakening, to bring you towards that peace and happiness that you are searching for. So my guest today is Arianna Aunon, who is coming to us all the way from the beautiful island of Bali. Hi, Arianna, how are you?
Hello, Denise. It's so beautiful to be here. I'm so well. Yeah, excited for our conversation.
This is wonderful. I'm so excited to talk to you and to hear what you have to say. Before we get there, though, I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you're doing in Bali.
So juicy. So yeah, I'm currently in Bali. I arrived about 2 months ago. This is one of my soul homes. So it's like my life is between Ibiza and Bali. And so this island for me is just that feminine magic. It's all about self-love. It's real nature, immersion, blissful living. And really that's what I'm about. I went from living a real crazy, toxic, stressful, sick life to really finding my way to actually remembering we get to live a blissful life and we get to live in that place of our happiness. We all deserve to be happy, we can be happy, and we get to experience that peace on a daily basis, that inner peace. And so for me, I work with women all around the world. I'm big with nutrition and detox and cellular regeneration. And really a focus on weight loss because that was a big part of my journey, but also looking at our hormones and stress levels and really how food can support us and how we can create this lifestyle that really allows us to feel centered, embodied, grounded. And from that place, we get to birth like this peaceful, I want to say kind of this peaceful play, we're all part of our own play, right? And so, yeah, I'm really all about, oh my God, if you want to know a little bit about me, I love singing, I love dancing, like I love food, like I'm all about, the cleansing and detox, but I'm also a big embracer of the pleasure and the beauty of life and living a conscious life. And I love to work with crystals and yoni eggs and, really tap into my sensuality. And a big journey with femininity and coming home to my feminine self was also a big part of my journey. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. Everything that you talked about, okay, I have to say, I have to show the book. I have to brandish the book, The Successful Body, because of course, Arianna and I are both co-authors in here. And Arianna's chapter is number 3, for those of you who have the book. Liberate Your Body Through Cellular Nutrition, which is something that you just mentioned. And one of the things, of course, at Living Healthy List we talk about is health, wellness, personal development, and fun. And so I love how you've connected nutrition to the happiness and the peace and happiness. Tell us your journey. How did you get to understanding that nutrition was a way to that peace and happiness that you were looking for, obviously, in your life at some point?
Yes, such a great question. So just kind of go back to my childhood a little bit. My dad was a chef. My mum was an amazing cook. So I grew up like in this environment where food was such a big deal the whole time, right? And I always say it, and I'll say it again, we used to have our breakfast, be talking about lunch, we'd have lunch, we'd be talking about dinner, and then in between that, there would be God knows what, cakes and clotted cream and all that stuff we have in Devon. And, it was just, yeah. And so I learned a lot about how, okay, I'm eating home cooked food and like we're getting stuff from the garden and it seemed nourishing and wholesome and healthy. But then I got taken on this journey of actually moving towards a place where I started to control my food. And I think because food was made such a big deal in my life, I started to control it. And then I went through a big eating disorder. And then I had to journey out of that through, actually, I worked with mentors and art therapy. But as my journey went on, there was something that just caught me with this whole big focus on food in my life, and how I became very emotional eater, very like comfort eating, to overeating. So, you know, I kind of went to the extreme of extreme weight loss to extreme weight gain. So I then went to a quantum center and went really deep. So I really deep dived on my journey to find truth in my body. I'm all about the whole doing it in my body to embody it, to actually prove it, right? And then I worked in like 2 of the most prestigious places in London around health. So I got a lot of insight into different therapies, and I got to try it all out. Mm-hmm. So I really got to kind of accelerate my own healing journey, and really, God, I had so many ego deaths, and, you know, so much coming home to the heart and awakening in my body. But it always came back to food. It always came back to this piece around food, because it was like, it's something we just do throughout our whole day, right? It's like we wake up, we think, oh, what am I going to have for breakfast? Oh, what am I going to have for lunch? Oh, I'm a bit peckish. Shall I have a snack? Oh, I need to pick me up. So shall I have a coffee? Shall I have this? Oh, God, that's really healthy. Not healthy. You know, it's like this whole...
It's a whole conversation that you never stop having.
Right, exactly. So this is the piece that I really like, just grabbed hold of that gap there. And it was like, but this food can take over our life if we don't come home to understanding that we actually have to clear out this vessel, so that then we understand what the body really wants. And so this is what then took me where I was totally guided. I'd actually been to Bali, and then I got guided, and I'd done some plant medicine journeys and had all these activations. And then I got back from Bali a number of years ago, and I was just guided by spirit to this other way, you know, and it was like, whoa, okay. And I was guided to move to Marbella in Spain. So I went there, and I've journeyed on this big cellular regeneration process. And this took me home to nutrition even more, to understanding, wow, you know, like, the whole gut area is connected to our brain, it's connected to our happiness, it's connected to how we feel in our body. If we're not, you know, if we've still got all this gunk and the past and the old, and, you know, I talk about all the gross stuff, the mucus and parasites and all that stuff hanging out in there, then that's going to be zapping us from our true connection, our innate state, which is peace and happiness. And so nutrition really, and it still is for me, it just is such a beautiful process of coming home to remembering the earth, to remembering Mother Earth, to remembering our feminine nature. Because what I found also, you know, I felt like I tried it all on my journey, and I went through weight issues, anxiety, hypothyroid, stress, all that, so much stuff. And I felt like I tried everything, all the diets, so many supplements, so many exercise regimes, even detoxes. And it was like, God, like, how can I put in all this effort and not get the results? So then it was like this whole awakening that, you know, I'm a real optimist, a real positive woman. So I'm like, there's another way, there is a way, like, I will find it. You know, I remember going to the doctors and having low thyroid, and that was a whole big journey in my family. My mum, my 2 sisters all had hypothyroid, put on medication. So my sister was put on medication at 16 for like 17 years. I was just like, wow, you know, and had such a huge journey with it. And then she came on this journey and got off that medication in less than 6 months, you know, after 15 years of it.
That's amazing. It's interesting that you say that about your mom and your mom's family, because my mother also has hypothyroidism and has for years and has been on medication. And a lot of the women that she knows who are around the same age all say the same thing. Oh, it's just something that happens as you get older.
Yeah, this piece, oh my God, it's such a huge piece. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, you know, I'm this old, so it just happens, it's normal. We make it normal. But the thing is, because there hasn't been enough truth put out into the world, which is now it's all awakening, to really understand that actually, no, like, first of all, I don't believe in age. I think what's truth is our biological health, because that can totally, we don't even need to think about our age at that level. And so with the hypothyroid journey is that, you know, it is huge on this planet, and it's all to do with our power in our throat chakra, and it links very much to us feeling safe in our body, but it's also connected to different traumas and everything as well. But again, food can help us really unlock and awaken, balance our hormones, and really activate, you know, our core center, our strength. But no, it's not about that piece of like, this just happens at our age, or I'm this old. Actually, you know, first of all, we can go so far into this medical world and get very lost in it, whereas it's just what do I want to bring forth here? It's really distracting us from the root of it. So the root of what's true when it comes to thyroid hormones, this feminine body, is that actually when we get to the root, when we clear out the toxins in our body, you know, I always say there's two real roots to all dis-ease. I don't believe in disease, it's illusion. It's dis-ease in our body. And we can change that to pure ease, you know, is trauma and toxicity, the two T's. And so when we come back to that level of knowing that there's always a root to it, there's always a root. And medication, all it does is suppresses, masks, band-aids, and gives us a false sense of relief. But I can have deep freaking compassion on this journey for all the women out there, because I know we just sometimes want to get relief, right? We just want some relief. We want some give, because sometimes it feels really tough and just fed up and horrible in this body. But it's bringing the remembrance now that, like, we are all such powerful self-healers, and that when we remember the tools, that when we remember how to work with nutrition, when we remember the processes, I say, come from the ancient Egyptian temples, you know, the goddess times. It's true, you know, we're bringing forth all these ancient practices that have been forgotten on those scriptures that were, wonder where they went. And it's remembering all of this now, all the enemas, all the cellular regeneration, the crystal work, the activation work. This is when we really remember that we have everything we need to heal ourselves. And really, you know, the medical industry, medication has just been for one big agenda. And it's time to remember that you have the power, you know, whoever's watching this right now, you are so powerful, and you have the power to heal yourself so naturally, and remember the peace and the happiness that you deserve and you desire. Because if we get real and honest with ourselves, we all want to feel happy. We all want to feel peaceful, don't we?
Absolutely.
But we can make too much normal, and it's no more making our symptoms normal.
Yeah, and I think there's so much noise on the internet, in social media, that it's really difficult for people to find the good, honest, truthful information, stuff that they can really bring home and focus on, help them focus on healing themselves. You've mentioned the term cellular regeneration a couple of times.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit, explain that to us a little bit more in detail, if you would.
Yeah, okay, so we have the process of the body. Like, what I found out is that for so long I was like, okay, so I just got to eat healthy food and put the healthy food in and just keep adding good stuff in, you know, superfoods and supplements, and I'm good. But actually that didn't get me to where I wanted to get in my body. You know, I kind of did I made things normal for a while. I was thinking, well, I've done so much, like maybe this is just normal, this is as good as it gets, right? But then there was like my heart, my soul was like, nope, there's more, right, keep going. And so this cellular regeneration piece comes to this point of like, we've got to remember that our body has been accumulating toxins for so long. Even from the moment we're in our mummy's tummy, you know, that umbilical cord, I think they say there's like 200 or 300 chemicals in there, something crazy. So from the moment go, right, we've got toxicity going on, whether it's emotional, physical, energetic, all of that. And so it's remembering that we can't just keep putting all this good, healthy food on top of all that toxicity in our body, because what's it doing? It's not going to get into the cells. So what I discovered and realized, as someone who loves to investigate and research, is that such a geek sometimes, and
It's always a good thing. Research is good. I like to geek out on that stuff too.
Yeah. Like my human design is a 5-1, so it's like that investigator. Yeah, big on that. And so the core piece was that I realized, wow, when we start to clear out that waste, you know, the liver, the kidneys, you know, and if our kidneys aren't filtering at a cellular level, then our lymphatic system is just going to be, well, it's not going to be happening. And the lymphatic system is like the sewage system, right? You have the sewage system around your city or town or whatever. Well, you've got one in your body. And the thing is, when that's blocked up and stagnant, then that clogs the energy, the flow, the expansion, the joy, the bliss, the happiness, the peace, right? All of that, all those good vibrations, because we're being held back in the past, in the toxins of our emotions, of our traumas. And so what I found is that when we come to this place of cellular regeneration and we start to work with really pure whole foods, when we start to alkalize the body, I work with a lot of fruit eating, which I know can, so, you know, we're led to believe we don't want to eat too much fruit, it's high in sugar, but oh, it's okay to eat whatever, a keto diet of loads of meat and eggs. Well, you know, I think that we've got to weigh this up and see what's truth here. And
I'm so glad you said that.
So, you know, there's this key piece where cellular regeneration was like that gap, that missing link in my life. And then I was like, oh my God. Then I held a couple retreats in Ibiza, and ladies came and experienced this body awakening reset method, this journey of cellular regeneration. And it was like, wow, the shift in the ladies from day 1 to day 7 was just like so exciting. You know, they were just like, I don't know what's happened. Like, I feel so different. Like, I feel home, you know, I've come home to myself. And it was that, for me, I talk about that true self awakening, which again is the remembrance on our planet now, is remembering our true self. It's coming back to our soul, our hearts, and dropping, you know, I had a big trauma journey, but God, wow, to be able to really witness that trauma and be with it and not accept what happened as such and the whole thing, but accept what it is so I can move forward on my journey. And the same with toxicity, you know, it's like I've cleared so many parasites from my body, and my clients are like, yeah, but maybe like you just had loads of parasites. And I'm like, well, yeah, I did have loads of parasites, I saw them, but you know, it's that thing of like, oh, but I haven't. And it's like, well, let's remember, my dears, is that we have all created this internal acidic environment, not intentionally, kind of unconsciously, because there's been so much misleading information out there, that actually we've got to remember that if we've got an acidic environment, so if we're experiencing any kind of weight gain, exhaustion, cravings, fatigue, stress in our body, then there's some acid going on in a part of the body. So when we start to focus on that through this cellular regenerative process, then we really come back to a body that alkalizes, that feels peaceful. I was speaking to a client the other day, and she was just like, wow, I feel totally different, you know, and I feel at peace. Like I can just go out and I have my orange juice and I sit and read my book, and I just feel so content, you know, after years on antidepressants and just real stressful workaholic lifestyle. And so it's just remembering that wherever we're all at, wherever you're at now, you know, there's always, I've got my incense coming across.
I see it. Like,
I've got a cigarette there or anything.
I was like, wait, there's something moving there.
Got some smoke there. It's just my sandalwood incense. And so this is it, you know, it's remembering that wherever we're at in our body, there is always a way through it. And cellular detoxification regeneration really brought me home to the remembrance that, God, like we really have no idea how good and how happy and how peaceful we can feel in this body. And so when we go to that level, which is like going to a totally other level in the body, but oh my God, you get to experience your true self. You get to experience happiness that is maybe a happiness beyond what you thought was happiness. Maybe it's beyond a peace that you thought. You know, I'm one to go beyond, because I feel like we've been suppressed into a place of, you know, victim and poor me and and I'm not worthy. And it's like, no, we are also worthy. You know, I am worthy, you are worthy, we are worthy. And we get to feel our absolute best in this body. And so, yeah, cellular regeneration has been like, and this is what I've woven into my method. So I kind of have this cycle now, and it spirals in. So instead of that kind of pyramid you see of the old school, you know, up and down, it's like I spiral in and out of this journey through the method, like nature, right? Nature is built on spirals. And so we journey in through different processes with nutrition, with alkalizing, with fasting, with alchemizing trauma, with working with cellular detox and fruit eating and all these beautiful processes. And you also get to just experience like beautiful food, you know. It's like there's really a process that we can take into our life, but it's no longer about a diet, right? That word is just so gone and old, and
it's a 4-letter word. It's a bad word.
Right, it's just, yeah, it's over. And you know, the real word right now is just, it's freedom. It's like it's time for freedom in a big way. And you know, this is the tone of the moment I'm feeling, and that is the truth of the feminine spirit as well. You know, we are the bringer forth of that freedom, like we are the igniters of that. So like, yeah, for all us women, like just to know we're all in this together, you know. And I feel like as one woman shines and shares that truth, it gives that other woman permission to think, actually, it's time for me to rise, you know, and break out of all that, whatever it is. I've recently broken out of a whole load of family stuff, and it's been the greatest liberation, you know, to realize actually, you know, I adore and love my family, of course, but you know, it's like I'm an individual and I get to be who I be, and I get to be who I want to be in this time, and be on my purpose and in my truth. And I feel like that's another part of this body awakening reset method. It's brought me deeper into my purpose. And many of the women that come to me, it's like want to lose weight but also want to really anchor a higher frequency and be on purpose, you know. Like I think those of us that are really, you know, we're awakening or we're awake now, like we know that we've been brought to planet Earth for a big reason, and we're here to come together.
You mentioned something a minute ago, how, you know, we can help each other. We, you know, when one woman comes through into this awakening, we can all help each other and bring each other along in this process, which is really what we're doing here today, is showing women that there's more to it. And I'm truly intrigued by the body awakening method, because you've mentioned all things that I think are cool. You've mentioned alkaline. You mentioned fruit eating. I'm a big fruit eater. I love my fruit. So I could never do keto. I tried. As the CEO and curator at Living Healthy List, I really feel I need to try and experience things before I can really speak about them. And so I've tried a lot of different things. And I have to say, all of these diets, that bad 4-letter word, they all left me feeling heavy, sometimes weight-wise, but just really heavy in my body, in my soul. It's really just one of those kind of icky feelings. Like I might have, you know, I was eating a lot of stuff that I would not normally eat, but I felt heavy. The food not that it didn't taste good, but it didn't feel pure and natural.
Yeah. Oh, such a good piece, you know. And it's, again, like, I love that you're a fruit eater as well. Like I'm just in a cleanse at the moment I've just suddenly dropped into a bit of a fruit cleanse, and it just feels so good, you know, have these little resets. And so that piece about all those diets and, you know, whatever it is, keto or paleo, and, you know, high fat this, high protein, or counting all our calories, it's so the past. It's so old. It's so like, just burn it and let it go. Because the thing is, it doesn't bring this, you know, this satisfaction. Like we think, you know, all these tastes and all these flavors, you know, I live very simply now. And I actually, that's another core piece that I found really awakens peace, is this truth of simplicity. When we can really simplify our food and really work with that way, then actually we do awaken more peace within ourselves, because life just becomes easier. It's not so complex anymore. And this whole food journey of we need so much protein, we need so much fat, we need all these things, it's actually not truth. Like the body actually functions very simply. And of course, as we alkalize it more, you really get to experience more of who you truly are. And then we drop into our heart space, you know, it's this whole journey out of the head into the heart and into our body, and embodying our truth and our wisdom and our inner knowing. And this is when we journey on that path of alkalizing the body. It's true satisfaction comes, from the simplicity of working with fruits, of working with veggies. But also, you know, I think sometimes that can feel like, oh God, but I can't just live off fruits and vegetables. And the thing is, it's not just about fruits and vegetables, but there's a journey that we've got to go through in this body if we're going to heal her fully, of having some times when we just eat fruit, or we go raw. But then, you can have cooked food, and you can have all these beautiful plant-based foods, and it's delicious. And it's that thing of like, the misperception of restriction. Like, I like to have different perspectives on it. It's like, oh, we think we're restricting ourselves from not being able to have, I don't know, loads of meat or fried foods or caffeine and all these things. And it's like, but by having that, we're restricting ourselves from our happiness and our peace. So I think we have to look at something, and, you know, we've got to start looking at these ways in different levels of consciousness. And then we truly start to awaken this body and reset her at a cellular level, which is the core of the method that I work with. And then we remember, really, honestly, I bought this journal the other day. Remember.
Love it.
It's like, it's the time of remembrance, of remembering that we are here to live the most blissful, happy, peaceful, joyous lives in our body. And yes, I understand that maybe right now, for the ladies that are watching this, whoever's watching this right now, you know, you may be feeling like totally like at a dead end, or like you've tried so much. But know that exactly, like me and Denise being here, being these guiding lights, like sisters, like we're here to show you that there's a way, and like we can get through it together, and that it's a magical journey. And I know sometimes the unknown can be a little bit scary, that a lot of fear can come up, right? But it's remembering that we can't ever let that fear or that afraidness stop us taking action, because we have this sacred life for a reason, and you're a gift, and you are the magic, you are the key, you are the answer, right? And it's all within this temple. So when we go within, and when we start to awaken that God goddess, then we realize we get to birth our dreams. And what we're doing right now, we are the ones that are birthing this new earth. We are the midwives of this new earth. So ladies, we've got to rise.
Yes, it is time. It is our time. And I think it's important for people to understand, you know, ladies, if you're listening, you know, you have to start somewhere, right? You won't always know what the right answer is right away, but it's a journey. I mean, Arianna was on a journey, and she's here to share that journey with all of us. And that's step one. And next step is, you know, taking some action. You know, whether the first action is, you know, reading The Successful Body and reading the chapter that Arianna wrote, whether your next step is connecting with Arianna, take a next step and become, you know, in touch with who you are, not so much here, but back in here, back into your heart. So Arianna, tell us a little bit about the body awakening process. Like, how you mentioned that you had done a retreat with women for 7 days, but I can imagine it would take more than 7 days to really understand the process. So tell us just, you know, just a little bit about the process. Is it a 10-step process, a 3-step process? I think you said a 7-step process.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, it definitely takes longer than 7 days. But that 7 days is a real kind of like acceleration initiation, right? But the women will also be involved in a 3-month program. But what I'm really seeing women to come to me now is for my 6-month program, because 6 months is like this solid journey. We work with a 7-step process, and this process truly, it's all about setting a foundation, which is so deeply missed so often. And I missed it on my journey. And if only I'd understood, if I set a foundation, and that foundation really is, we've got to work through a kind of transitional process. So we do this kind of transition to wherever you may be at now, you know, wherever that lady is at with her nutrition, we work from that point. You know, I always bespoke my work. There's no one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
We're all unique and we all have our own journey and stuff going on. And so we work with that transitional process. We work with that foundation setting. And then it's like this organic process of weaving through, like, okay, now we need to do some cellular cleansing. So we need to start healing the liver, you know, start healing all the hormones and start clearing out all that, you know, all those old hormones that are just building up, recirculating, whether, you know, you've ever taken the oral contraceptive pill or medications, or there's just been, you know, heavy metals or surgeries, whatever it might be, you know, that liver. And of course in our food industry there's so many toxic chemicals, right, in our water supply, the fluoride and everything, and of course now we have all radiation with all the 5Gs and everything blasting out. So, you know, there's so much more that our body is having to deal with. And so, you know, maybe we need to focus on doing some liver cleansing. And then we often, right, we need to get the kidneys filtering, and then we work on the lymphatic system. And of course the endocrine glands are the master glands of alchemy in our body. So really, you know, if there's any thyroid problems, like hormone problems, weight gain, whatever's going on there, stress, we've got to really work on all those detox pathways. So I kind of go through and organically create these different protocols as we go, so that the body, we see how the body's feeling, how it's presenting, and then we meet the body so it gets exactly what it needs as it goes along the journey. So you always feel fully supported, right, and held. And then we work with herbal protocols, parasite cleansing, clearing of mucus, which is, oh my God, a liberation when we clear that mucus out.
Nice.
Wow, you know, like I had such an awakening from that, clearing the mucus from like our glands. I mean, that's when we start to shift to higher states of consciousness, and we start to draw in and anchor like ultimate reality, right? Higher realities, our dreams. And so the process is very, yes, like it's the process, but again, I like to make it weave with that specific woman, with whatever's going on in her life, you know, emotionally as well. So it's not just looking at the physical body yet. The physical body has been so bypassed. I make the physical body such a core piece, because we have to clean this vessel. We cannot move forward in our life or heal our body unless we clean the physical vessel. But when we clean the physical vessel, then we start healing our emotions, our mindset. We start coming back to our heart, like we've been talking.
Sounds like liberation.
Right, it's liberation. It's total liberation. And that's really it. When women say, it's like, yeah, a client the other day, she was just like, it's just liberation. I mean, that's the word, the freedom and liberation, right? The words of the moment.
Yep, words of the moment. I love it. And I think it's so at this time in my life, it's really interesting because you know, women of 40 and over, as we start to change, we go back to that, as you're going through the menopause, it's perimenopause. This is normal that you feel like crap and that you're gaining weight and all of these things. This is normal. And obviously it's not. You know, it's common, obviously, a lot of women have it, but it's not, doesn't need to be normal, because what you're saying is, if we can clean out what we have here, all of the 45, in my case 50 years of stuff, all of the symptoms go away. And I think so often we're so focused on symptom relief. And so now what I'm intrigued, and I hope everyone watching is truly intrigued with the fact of actually healing yourself. I love this, Arianna.
Yes, this journey of healing ourselves, right? And this is the ultimate journey of really remembering that we are here to heal ourselves, our body, and then we heal our life, and then everything just starts to align. And this whole, just to speak to the menopause bit, because I have so many women come to me with that journey, and it's like, no, that transition, you get to feel freaking amazing. Like and that's the truth. But of course, out there commonly, yes, you experience this because, yeah, the body is just bunged up. But this is it, simply clearing the way. Whatever is going on in the body, whatever, it will clear, and you will get to transition with ease. And then it's just another like awakening into gracious womanhood, and it feels divine, you know? So but it's just, yeah, remembering that that healing journey begins with getting real with ourselves, you know, and like we were saying before we started, like, gotta just get out of our own way sometimes. And I think we can probably all put our hands up to that. I definitely can.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right, and just really being honest and real, and sometimes a bit raw with ourselves, like really how we feel. Because I remember on my journey, you know, it was always this like, oh, don't really want to feel that, don't really want to look at that fear because it's terrifying, it's scary. But then we give our power away to it, and then it drains us of our life force and our energy, and we get sicker because we're giving away our energy. So when actually we start to realize, no, I can look that fear in the eye because I'm strong and I can do this, and I know nothing bad is going to happen to me if I just look that fear in the eye. Because when we face that fear with love in our heart, love conquers all anyway. Love always heals all. Love is the healer, right?
It is.
But it's remembering love, it's remembering. That's another healing journey. And that's probably my biggest journey of always remembering love, you know, how to feel that love for ourselves again, a journey of self-love. I mean, what an awakening that is, to no longer, you know, feed off other people to find my love, but actually to feel so content in my being, so peaceful and happy and in love with myself, that then that just radiates and emanates. And we do all get to come home to that space. And again, that is simply the clearing. Because if we imagine all this toxicity in our body is just, it's kind of like negative energy. It's kind of like mucky mud. And when we kind of just start to clear that out, right? Like if we were in a pond or whatever, like all that mud's mucky around, you can't see anything, right? But when we just clear that way and we start to see that crystal water and we start to see clearly, we can see down to the bottom and we can see down to the core of our being again. And we get to see ourselves for who we truly are, who we really are, not who we think we are, but who we really are, which is truly powerful, loving, creative, magical beings of light, and here to be on this journey together, you know, creating together, like co-creating like this right now, like the book we did and other book projects I'm doing, you know, that energy of co-creation. But of course, for us to get to that space within ourselves, we have got to clear the way, and the way is only cleared within, like so within, so without, right? So above, so below. And that's the truth. Those mystery teachings, we've got to remember that it all starts with this body, it all starts with ourselves. Like even my business, I remember thinking, God, I put so much into my business, why isn't stuff shifting? And then I realized, God, actually, like I had to come and face some whatever trauma, my toxicity, to clear within so I could really get aligned to my purpose, my mission,
and create what has
right? We are creators. We are here to create, and when that creativity is a flowing, you know, then we really open up to our feminine flow, and we get to really embody the true magic of being on this earth. But it does all start with clearing those toxins, clearing the organs, you know, just because we can't see what's in there, it's so easy to just ignore it, right? But it's just like, we can't ignore this anymore, because we are all needed on this planet in our full strength, at our best, in our light. And yeah, by going within, we get to fully step into that place. So healing, I think sometimes healing can be seen, maybe it's a bit scary to face stuff, but oh my God, it's the biggest liberation. It's the biggest, it's the biggest liberation. For me, it's been everything. It makes me feel so excited now, you know, I love to.
And it shows, it really shows. Your energy is, I mean, you glow, you do. And that, I think, is enviable. People want that feeling, that energy, that positive energy. We all want to glow from within. And you're showing us that we have the ability to do that ourselves.
Yeah, and also that thing of like, I'm no different than you, right? Like we're all equal. Like if I can do it, you can do it. Honestly, I had so many shit habits. I was really like, oh my God, I was the one. I used to eat so much junk. I used to just do all the wrong and the right, but I did all the really bad shitty stuff to my body. I really went there and burnt the candle at every end, everywhere, partied hard, and just did crazy stuff, and was really off the rails for a lot in my life. But I realized it's that thing of like, even when we feel like we're off path, we're not, we're on path, because that being off the path is the initiation to remembering that this is the journey to truly remembering who you are. And we're all here just to literally mirror each other. Like where I am is just a mirror of your journey coming, or whatever, or what I see in you, Denise, is like, yeah, my journey of like awakening more within areas of my business, or whatever it might be, right? It's like, we can see, instead of, you know, of course there can be huge triggers, you know, we can trigger each other with different stuff. And but I think also now, because I've been triggered by so much in my life, but now I see anything that kind of triggers me in a way, I always just sit with it now, and I'm like, what is that showing to me? Because all it's showing us is a part that we need to heal within ourselves. So really that sister or that brother is just actually mirroring back and giving us actually guidance and acceleration, you know, instead of like, oh, that person really pissed me off. It's like, wow, that person's just given me an insight of where I need to go to heal myself, and I can accelerate my journey. So I see everyone now as divine mirrors of helping me on my path. And yeah, I hope maybe I can be a mirror for someone here.
I love that concept. I really do. That is truly brilliant, because I think so many of us are triggered by, like you said, family members, social media. There's so many things out there today that can trigger us. And looking at it from a different perspective and really thinking of it more as a learning experience. Like, what's going on with me? If this is triggering me, what's going on with me? Arianna, you're brilliant. I love it. We could talk for so long. I love this. I really am enjoying our conversation. We do need to wrap up though. So I would love for you to tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so my website, ariannaaunon.com, you can pop over there. You can sign up to my email list. You get a free gift around nutrition and effortless weight loss, if that calls you. Maybe some stuff you've never heard, more than what we've shared here. And you can grab my book, which is the Body Awakening book, which you can check out on my website, which is actually just on Kindle at the moment. And that's about this true self-health awakening through plant nutrition and cellular regeneration, everything I've been sharing. And I really share key steps in that book. So for me, it was really to share like a practical approach so you can get something from it. So yeah, that's a great place to get started. And you can come and follow me on Instagram. I'm the Body Awakening Ibiza, and on YouTube I am Arianna Maria Health Goddess. Yeah, I've been
yes, you are the health goddess, my dear. You absolutely are. And you know what? We all, ladies, we can all be a health goddess, just like Arianna. We just need to get on our journey. So Arianna, thank you so much for joining us today. We'd certainly love to have you come back and chat more in the future.
I would love to.
That would be great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today for this episode of the Wonder Series. We'll be here again next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, I leave you with this: healthy living, happy life. Thanks, everyone.